Welcome to episode 3 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms, your free video guide to your Mortal Realms subscription. I'm Esme.
And I'm James.
And we're here to guide you through the 3rd issue of your magazine.
In this video, we're going to show you how to build your new Castigators and their adorable Gryph-hound companion, as well as how to get started with painting all of your new models.
We'll also be putting the Castigators through their paces in a game scenario. But first, let's take a look at all of the new lore you'll discover about the Mortal Realms in issue 3. There's plenty of it.
Yes, my Nighthaunts get some attention with an in-depth look at processions, the fighting forces of the spectral hordes. There's also some information about Lady Olinda, the leader of this ghostly army. And you'll find out much more about the Mortarch of Grief later in your Mortal Realms collection.
There's also a closer look at Storm Hosts, the armies of the Stormcast Eternals. You could think of them as the equivalent of the Nighthaunt processions. There are many different Storm Hosts battling the forces of evil across the Mortal Realms, each with their own name, customs and colour scheme.
You'll read about various Storm Hosts in this issue, with a particular focus on the Hammers of Sigmar, the first among the Storm Hosts. Their gold colour scheme is iconic and is how you'll be painting your Stormcast Eternals later.
Finally, in this issue you'll learn more about the newest unit in your collection, the Castigators. These ranged warriors fire explosive bolts that harness the power of Star Drakes, mighty beasts of the Celestial Realm. These magical shots scourge their enemies of lightning and banish spectral foes back to the realm of death, so they're perfect for battling the Nighthaunts.
I bet you'll want to get your Castigators ready for battle then.
Absolutely. Let's start by building them. There are 2 kinds of model in issue 3. Both are part of the Stormcast Eternals force. You get 3 Castigators and a Gryph-hound, a faithful companion to the Stormcasts. Just like your Secretors in issue 1, each of your new Castigators is made up of multiple pieces and comes on a plastic frame. The parts numbered 1 to 5 form the unit's leader, the Castigator Prime. You'll build a second Castigator from parts 6 to 10, and a third is made up of parts 11 to 15. The final 4 parts, 16 to 19, will make your Gryph-hound. Just like your Secretors from issue 1, each of these models comes with a sculpted base on the sprue. These are highly detailed and make the finished models look really cool. You'll build your Castigators and Gryph-hound in the same way as the other models you've assembled so far. Start by taking your clippers, remembering to hold them safely, and cut parts 1 to 5 off the sprue, removing the components with the flat side of the blades closest to the piece you're removing. For the Castigator Prime, start by pushing the head into place on the piece that makes the model's back. That's part 2. Then gently line up the front, part 3, and push them together, like so. Remember that you can also consult the assembly guide in your magazine if you're not sure how the pieces go together. Next, get part 4, the right arm, and push it into place. That's your Castigator Prime ready. Normally, we'd put the model onto its base at this point, but you'll be painting it soon, and that will be easier if you keep the bases separate for now. With our Castigator Prime complete, just follow the instructions in your magazine for the other 2 Castigators. Pay close attention to ensure that the pegs and sockets line up properly and that the components are all pushed together fully so that they're flush. Once all 3 of your Castigators are ready, it's time to turn your attention to their Gryph-hound friend. This is built in a similar way. Fit the head into place on one half of the body and press the 2 halves together. Congratulations, you have your very own Gryph-hound ready to chase down Sigmar's enemies. This unit of Castigators and their companion are almost ready to take to the battlefield and unleash their Thunderhead Greatbows into the Nighthaunt hordes. But first, let's get some paint on them. In the last video, we painted our first Warhammer Age of Sigmar models, but as a reminder, let's cover the basics again. First up, you'll need your paint, so grab your Corax White, your Retributor armour, and your paintbrush. You'll also need some fresh water to thin your paints and keep your brush clean, some paper towels, and something to use as a palette. You should have all of this from last time, so gather it all together and get ready to paint. We're going to get all of the Stormcast Eternals models undercoated, starting with the Gryph-hound. We will paint it with Corax White. Give the paint a good shake. Remember, we do this to make sure the paint is thoroughly mixed and ready to use. When you're done, carefully open the pot and click the lid back to ensure that it stays open. Get your brush. If you need a refresher on how to hold it, there's a picture of this in issue 2. Put some paint onto the bristles and transfer it to your palette. Thin it slightly with a drop of water, then wipe away any excess from your brush on the paper towels you have handy. If you're not sure you have the right amount of paint on your brush, refer to the image in issue 3 of the magazine. You're looking for about this much. Now, let's get painting. Start by applying a thin coat of Corax White to the Gryph-hound's base and set it aside to dry while you paint your Gryph-hound itself. Be sure to clean your brush regularly to stop paint building up in the bristles. When you finish the Gryph-hound, set it down gently on your paper towel and grab its base. You'll need to apply several thin coats of Corax White to fully cover the plastic. Alternate between painting the base and the Gryph-hound, making sure that the previous coat has completely dried before going on to the next one. After 3 coats, you should have a fully undercoated white Gryph-hound, standing proud and ready to defend its allies. Close your pot of Corax White and open your new colour, Retributor Armour. As I mentioned earlier, it'll be easier to paint these models fully if they're not attached to their bases. For the ones that are already attached, you should be able to remove them easily if you gently pull the models upwards while firmly holding onto their bases. Before you use the Retributor Armour, empty your water pot and put fresh, clean water in. When working with multiple paints, you should always do this between each colour to stop them from mixing together as you take them from the pot. Next, get some Retributor Armour onto your palette and thin it slightly. Let's begin with the castigators. We'll start with the bases, giving each of them a thin, even coat of paint. Once all 3 of the bases are covered, move on to the Stormcast themselves. You'll see that these models are wearing robes, making some areas of the model tricky to reach with your brush. It's much easier to paint these areas when the models are separate to their bases. The first coat may not fully cover the plastic, the second will leave the gold looking a little dull, and the third coat will give your warriors their shining gold suits of armour. Now it's time to paint your sequitors. These might be a little trickier as they're made from gold-coloured plastic. You'll need to be diligent while putting on the first coat to make sure you cover every part of them. Like the castigators, you're looking for them to end up shiny and golden. This should take 3 coats. Once your castigators and sequitors are looking suitably heroic, get them back on their bases alongside the Gryph-hound. Then it's time to try out the castigators in battle.
Last time, the bold sequitors were ambushed in an ancient shrine by a band of Myamon banshees. Fortunately, help is at hand. A unit of castigators, along with their faithful Gryph-hound, were not far behind. Now, they're ready to fight.
For this game, you'll need your 3 castigators, your Gryph-hound, and the 10 chain rasps from issue 1. Lay out your battle mat, dice and range ruler as usual, then set up the models on the lightning bolt and skull markers, as shown in the pictures in your magazine.
Don't forget a coin or other marker to track any wounds the Stormcasts take.
This issue's game will introduce ranged combat to our battles. Lots of units in the Mortal Realms are armed with long-range weapons, from bows to rifles and more, including weapons that fire blasts of warp lightning or magical energies upon their foes.
Attacking with a ranged weapon works in a similar way as attacking in close combat, except models don't have to be in base contact to do so, meaning you don't need to pile in first.
Great! In that case, let's get shooting. Referring to the magazine, you'll see that each castigator gets 1 attack. So with 3 of them, that's 3 dice to roll.
These Stormcast Eternals are just as good at shooting as they are smiting their foes with maces, so they hit on a 3 or better here too.
Here goes. That's 2 hits.
So I guess that's just 2 chain rasps banished back to Shaish.
It would be, except I rolled a 6. The head of the bolt explodes and covers the chain rasps in the captured breath of a mighty stardrake, so it might hit even more of them.
Ugh, those bolts sound deadly.
So each roll of a 6 turns into D3 hits instead of a single hit.
Ah, like the Myrmorn Banshee's damage from last time.
Exactly. So for each 6 to hit, I need to roll another dice and refer to the D3 table in the magazine. A roll of 1 or 2 means 1 hit, a 3 or 4 causes 2 hits, and getting 5 or 6 will be 3 additional hits. Let's see what I get. It's a 5, so that means 4 chain rasps down.
That is a very good start. But what about your Gryph-hound? It doesn't have ranged weapons, so I guess it piles in and attacks like we've done before?
Exactly. It'll be attacking with its beak and claws, and you can find a profile for your Gryph-hound in the magazine. Let's play our game. Those castigators are great. I can't wait to use them again.
If you want to try them another time, why not replay the game or swap out the chain rasps for Myrmorn Banshees and see how the castigators get on against them. I think we're going to do just that.
Sounds like fun to me. But first, let's take a quick look at what you can expect in the next video.
In issue 4, you'll get a new unit for the Nighthaunts, the dreaded Glaive Wraith Stalkers. You'll be building those and painting them with both Corax White and a new paint, Nihilak Oxide. You'll also use this technical paint on the rest of your Nighthaunts to give them a ghostly green glow.
You'll also get a new, bigger battle map which we'll start using in our games. This larger battle map will help us to learn how to move in games, getting our troops into the perfect position for a decisive attack.
There will also be lots of exciting things to discover about the Mortal Realms, including more about the infamous Necroquake and our first look at Azir, the Realm of Heavens, which is where Sigmar forges the Stormcast Eternals.
If you've not yet subscribed to Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms, remember that you can do so on the website. In addition to getting 4 issues delivered each month, you'll also get free gifts that will help you to build and paint your models.
We'll see you next time, and until then, enjoy your games.